Imagine trying to learn without the internet. No videos, no Google, no Wikipedia or research at your fingertips. I feel like nowadays we're so used to being able to go on our computers and just go into our, most common search engine and look at whatever information that we really need. But when you really think about it, we're very fortunate and lucky to have that service now because when you look back a while ago, a lot of people did not have that. The main purpose of this informative speech today is really just to inform how the internet has really changed the world today when it comes to education and learning. Because when you look at the traditional education, many people didn't have the resources that we had at our fingertips. It's a lot different now, and the transition has happened very fast. When you look at how fast it has happened over just a few years, going from back to, the 1990s when it first started to now. So that brings me to my next point is when the internet was first kind of created and first got started, which is all the way back in the 1990s, which is when they had their first type of style of the internet, but it wasn't really what we can see today. This brings me here to the history of the internet. So as you can see here, this shows this computer. This is kind of what they got started with back in the 90s. So it's a lot different from what we have now, and the tech is a huge change to what we see nowadays. As you can see, it's a huge computer, large keyboard, and it was very slow compared to what we have now. Now we have it at our fingertips on our cell phones in our pockets, but they had to go to local libraries, and many of these computers were thousands of dollars at the time, which is now and now's money, it's way more back then, so they were very expensive. Not many people can use them, and you're very lucky to be able to use something like this. Even still, it was still very difficult to use because many people did not know how to use them because they were so new, as well as that they were very slow and not the most up to date. Also, many students were also able to now learn online, which is allows students to be able to kind of pursue a lot of their learning and degrees through the online service, using this computer. And then as we can see today, many students are allowed to use the online services to get their degrees online, which formerly you're not allowed to do. You can only have that in-person education style. So let's go on to another point and let's look at the educational platforms and resources that we can see in today's internet instead of what the past had. So as we can see today, the internet has changed a lot. So from our last slide to now, instead of having these blocky computers, we now have different services that we can use for online learning, such as Khan Academy, Google Scholar, Coursera, Wikipedia, and many other different websites that we can use to learn and have that education at our fingertips. We can get started with Wikipedia alone. That search engine, you can go on there and look up anything from what a country is to, the study of economics to, really anything that you want to learn about at your fingertips. You don't have to go to a library or go to a book. You can look it up in seconds and have all that information for you there. Coursera and Khan Academy are leading, the world now when it comes to online learning and helping students learn with different courses and different training services that they can use for themselves. And then we have Google Scholar, which also does the same, which has been around for a while, which is a lot different than what they used to have when they had journals, articles, and they had to open up books. Now we have blogs and other different things that we can use. While the internet has many resources, there's also many challenges that the internet does bring that a lot of people are not fully aware about, but we can move on to those and take a look at those now. So the main challenges of the internet, for one, is of course stress. As you can see here, many students are, going everywhere because it's an information overload. It's not just like having a book and you have your one piece of information on that book or article. You have tons of information all over the internet that you can go here and there from, and just have it all at your access. So that could be a lot for many students. Another big issue is the divide of the economic divide, as all that information is on a computer and the online devices. Many people in rural areas or lower income people do not have that direct access to use the internet as we can use that now. They don't have access to that online learning, access to the blogs and the different search engines to get that learning. They still have to use the traditional ways. So that is one big area that many people do overlook, that not everybody can actually use the internet. Another big struggle nowadays is the credible sources. Since there's so much information everywhere, it's really hard to tell which information is the most accurate and credible, and which information is also, not the best and the more misleading information. Nowadays, you may see one blog talking about a topic, and that blog may be giving you some great information. And you may see another blog or article talking about the exact same topic, and it's giving you some completely opposite information. And that leaves many people and students kind of stuck in a little middle ground, kind of, leaning, where do I get my information from? So I know nowadays you definitely have to be very wary and careful of where you get all your information from. And you have to understand that you kind of have to use the information as a tool and use the internet as a tool, but also understand that you still have to make your own final judgment and understand that you still have to come to the understanding of which information is going to work the best for you. And finally, now let's wrap up the final reflection and look at the internet as a whole as a conclusion of what it is really today. In conclusion, it's really changed over the years in such a fast time, starting from the 1990s to the 2000s that we have now, and the shift has been huge. All in all, the internet has helped out so many to bring us all together for one, allow students to learn so much more, and really understand a lot more things all at once instead of having to just take everything at a time. As well, with the internet comes the speed of everything. You can really understand many things in a shorter amount of time than having a book and just opening up one book, fully reading it and going on to the next. You can really go from article to article and place to place and understand so many things at once. And that's one of the big things that the internet has done. Even though there's many challenges and many drastic downfalls to the internet, I think all of the benefits of the internet for education purposes definitely outweigh the drastic issues that comes with it. Thank you.